Open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness. Oh, why is it not going so? There you go. There you go. We'll bring him back in a second. But hello and welcome to the way of conscious mindfulness. So, firstly, who the heck am I? And what's this show all about? Well, my name is Sifu Boggy. Some know me, my birth name is Paul Brighton, but most people, healers, my healing name, my coaching name, my martial art name is Sifu Boggy. Sifu means guide muse, somebody who points you along the way, who guides you along your path. Boggy is my martial arts and healing and spiritual name, and it means the balancer between the chaos and the calmness. So for the last 30 seconds, for the last 37 years, I have been studying Tai Chi, Qigong, Theta, Tuina, reflexology, Reiki, Shun Qi Shen, which is Chinese Reiki, and many other techniques of the Barefoot Doctor, which we'll get to in a second, and also the Dragon Dog Shaman, which is what I studied as. And so my aim, my goal is to help, especially help healers, light workers and coaches supercharge themselves and ensure they never burn out. Because in the old Eastern traditions of the Tao, that's what happens. You never burnt out. You always had abundance of energy, and you always had the ability to heal, coach, and teach, and go with the flow. So, what's this show all about? Well, this show is the way of conscious mindfulness, a regular podcast and Facebook Live show where we discuss spirituality and science, balancing it with health and well-being, and mind, body, and spirit with a Taoist twist. What does the Tao mean? Again, the Tao means the way, the path, the balance. Now, surprise, surprise, this isn't a normal show. Anything with me in it ain't normal. Each week, each show, we either have a subject or a guest. Now, we have a mighty, mighty guest, a guest that's influenced my life and has definitely influenced the way I am and the way I teach and the way I perform. And our aim, our goal is to have an open discussion to help us all find new skills, new ways to balance our very own personal way, path, or Tao. Now, just with a few clicks of a button, without further ado, I will bring the awesome gentleman on himself, the mighty, the magnificent Barefoot Doctor. Good morning, sir. I normally say good evening. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Well, all the better for being here with you. What a character you are.
Well, I am what I am. That's my way. That's my Tao. And as I said, it's actually a little bit influenced by you because I'm actually a 1970s child, and I actually self-diagnosed about 15 years ago that I'm actually dyslexic, dyspraxic, which are just names, just, the whole thing of, it's an interesting thing, but it always made me different at school. And of course, I grew up in an era where computers weren't what they are now. So it was all about books, and being dyslexic for me, words move and change. So I wasn't a great lover of books, but as I started learning Qigong, which was my first art, I was learning something that everybody else was doing, karate or taekwondo, and I was learning this wonderful art of Qigong and Tai Chi. And I found quite a few books by the mighty Barefoot Doctor, who was this other geezer who was actually doing the same stuff and had a similar sort of background to me, 10 years ahead of me, but a similar sort of background. And yeah, so I've always been mightily influenced by you, sir. And I'd like to say thank you very much. It's a pleasure and an honor to meet you. And it's a pleasure and honor to actually talk to my Sifu.
Well, Sifu, it is a pleasure and an honor, likewise, to be here with you. We've had a lot of good contact over the time, mostly through your wonderful perseverance. You're really lovely like that. And it's great to be finally coming face to face. Fun.
Well, yes, to me, for my interpretation of the Tao, and through at least one of my teachers, it was actually all about the childlike energy, and I know that's represented in your books as well. And it's that, that thing of take responsibility like an adult, be who you are, and live it, but also have fun and enjoy life. We're meant to thrive in life. We're meant to have fun and enjoy it, and that's what it's all about. Okay, right. Well, what I'll quickly do, there's a few people turning up, so let's do a few hellos. So Donna Zane, he's a Taoist. Love him. I just want to say, because there's the one little difference between you and I use the Chinese translation. I use DAO, Taoist, and you use the and it does. I just want to say, it doesn't actually matter, does it? It's just. Again, it's just a word, but it's just whichever word you use, I suppose.
The only thing that for me, the way I was told it by Dr. Chi, who was my first Tai Chi master, he said Tao, very, very, very soft T, Tao, not D. I said Tao. He said not D, soft T, Tao, and that always stuck in my mind. The sort of for me, it was a lesson in subtlety. Any lessons in subtlety for me are good because I need that always. So that's why I always stick to the. See, I might call me old fashioned if you will.
Oh no, you are what you are, and it's all good. Yeah, like I say, for me, because of the because when I spent time in China and I had a few people, Pengying, so we spell it this way. But yeah, you are right. There is a very soft T in it, which confuses people with the best of times. But right, so we've got Sue Walker. She's saying hi.
Hi.
Mandy as well, the wonderful Maria, Priceless Princess or Priceless Jewel. She's one of my students. Hiya, Priceless. How you doing? And one more for Mandy saying the inner child. Yeah, I think you'll find the inner child is fully awake and active in the both of us, I would say. So I'm actually going to really enjoy this question because there was only one set question in this, because it's not an interview. I've always said these are not interviews. These are like two chums that might have only just come together, but who having the conversation. But there's one question I always ask, and I am weirdly proud that I have actually scared two people away with asking this question. But so you're like me.
Is that a challenge to stay steady? All right, I'm going to stand firm, man. I'm standing firm.
Standing firm. Now, well, I'll quickly say you're very much like me. My actual name is Paul Brighton, but I'm known. Everybody knows me as either Sifu Boggy or Sifu or Boggy, and that represents the energy I am. And you, Stephen Russell, but you are the Barefoot Doctor. I've always known you as Barefoot, and as you said, we've sort of talked over the years, and I always call you BD, and I'm SB, and that's how it is. So this is the way of the Barefoot Doctor. This is your show. This is the way of the Barefoot Doctor. So Barefoot, what is your way? What is your personal Tao?
God, what a question! I'm running away. I don't want to be a clever thing, but my personal Tao right now is talking to you. And if I go from this moment, maybe that's the best way of describing it. See what I'm doing? I'm reminding myself constantly anyway to exercise, proprioceptive sense. What's going on inside my body, as if the two of us are doing pushing hands in Tai Chi. We would therefore, I can imagine you're pretty good. And we would Therefore, I'd have to be alert, right? And I'd have to feel my power in my body. I couldn't be flimsy with it. I'd have to be properly centered. So I always assume I'm in a Tai Chi game, you know, and I'm aware that I could be in the front of my body and the front of my brain where all the story goes on, and all the emotional reactions to the story I'm telling myself. And then I would tend then to be a people pleaser. I would then be performing for you, which would be fun, possibly if I did a good act, but you wouldn't be getting the true energy from my soul. As well as which I wouldn't enjoy it because I feel like I was whoring basically. So what I'm doing instead, as I would be if we were pushing hands, is I'm occupying the back part of my body. Because, you know, as you know, like one of the axioms of Tai Chi is that the strength is stored in the back and delivered from the spine through the, you know. So I'm in my back because that's where I'm strong. And it's the original part of me. You know, it's the part that develops first in the womb. It's the spine, and we grow out from there on a cellular level. So if there's anything original about us, it's the back. As well as which, if I can bring my mind into the back of my brain instead of the front. And the back brain, as I experience it, is the hunter-gatherer brain. It's the original, properly, hugely intelligent brain that hasn't been trammeled upon or limited by the stories that we've inherited and then developed on our own to describe life. It's a much bigger consciousness. I mean, I would actually say, when left unfettered, it's omniscient. In other words, I mean, I could go boom, chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka boom. You know, like it was a bit of a crap samba, but I could do that without thinking about it. Now that actually seems very simple, and I didn't do it very well actually because I'm not used to doing a human beatbox. So I normally do it with my hands, but I'm holding the phone in. You know, that's actually really difficult because you've got to count. If you were doing it consciously, you go, what is it? Putting the accents in and everything like a computer would. You know, the subconscious does that for you. The back brain does that for you, and that's nothing compared to what it's doing all the time. The back brain is filtering and processing all the information throughout infinity, throughout time and space, and it does know everything. And the psychic power, what we call psychic power, is when you've developed an avenue for that information to be delivered to you in a way you can relate to. Well, so I'm in the back brain because there I have big consciousness rather than. It doesn't mean I don't have the personality which exists in the front. That's operating, as you know. I can talk to you, but I'm you know, I can still be silly and I can do all the stuff I do, but I'm coming from the back of me, and as I'm doing that, I'm coming out of my self-absorbed state and remembering to connect with the back of you as well, to the presence in the back of you. Because then we can get some alchemy going. Like if you and I were having a play fight, if we were doing push hands or whatever, we would both be doing that. We'd be connecting, you know, what we say in the West, the higher self to the higher self. I call it the big self to the big self. We'd be doing that. And that's what the contest would be. It wouldn't be about who's using more strength in their arms. It would be about this amazing game that goes on between the higher selves, which is beyond our control almost. And, you know, the moves occur without us even knowing how we did them. I mean, that's when it's real fun. So that's what I'm always wanting to do. So I'm doing that with you now. Then I let the weight of myself, i.e. the whole description of me, who I think I am, all the thoughts that go with it, I let the weight drop into my lower belly because it's too heavy to hold up in my head. And why should I do that? Because that's what we're trained to do. Hold it all up there. And I'm dropping that because it's no point walking around with my story. So I drop it into my belly. That helps connect me to the ground. That makes me feel safe. But not only does it make me feel safe, it makes me feel connected to you because you're on the ground as well. So it's like the roots of a tree going down onto the earth and meeting up with the roots of your tree. So we have, and then because we're doing this as you could call it a service for everyone who's going to see it. We're acting, if you like, I suppose, like joint shaman or whatever you call it. We're creating a synergy here. And because we connect, we're automatically connecting or sending this energy to everybody. So it's like an alchemical process. And the next thing that I do is to make sure that I'm not too distant in any way at all. I keep in the front, I keep my heart open. I keep my chest open like a pair of sliding doors opening in my breastbone, because that enables my natural love, my kindness. That means the awareness that the other is kin or family to flow freely, and for yours to come to me. And like I said, that then includes everyone else as well. Finally, I think I could go on about it. I mean, I'm breathing slowly, rather than holding my breath. I'm relaxing my muscles rather than say, I'm remembering to lengthen my spine rather than let it all crumple, broaden my shoulders instead of narrow, and all that kind of business. I'm feeling the chi moving through me. I'm feeling the Tao in motion, the universe, the kind of the subatomic God particle in motion is moving through me, because that's the glory. That's the thing I'm celebrating really with every breath. And I'm sharing that with you I wouldn't normally have said it, but I'm sharing that with you. And then I have an intention, because I don't want to put my locally referenced agenda, my self-serving agenda onto anything. I want to be of service. That's why I'm here. I want to share the beauty in my soul, as do you, as do we all. So I won't want to limit outcome of this is by saying, well, I want this to happen and that to happen. Instead, a broad-based intention for this to be beautiful, for you to come out the other end of it feeling even more wonderful than you did when we started, to feel even more validated, more loved, more magnificent in every way, and for everybody who is watching to feel exactly the same, somehow to feel amplified, uplifted, fortified. Yeah, here we go. And then we got the courage and the oomph to go the next stage of the journey, because that's what we're here to do, help each other go. My Tai Chi master, he says a lovely thing. He said, because I used to complain when I was in my late teens that I was a bit crap at doing stuff. Why can't I do that? Whatever it was. And he said, look, we're all brothers and sisters walking along like children in the dark, stumbling as we go, and just holding each other's hand to stop each other falling over as best we can. That's all we're doing here. And that always stuck with me. It's a beautiful image, very humble. And just one more thing, of course, I can go on saying this, but the child, as you mentioned, that Lao Tzu, the guy credited with, the guy collated all the poems of the Tao Te Ching. So he's like considered the big goddaddy of Taoism. Well, it means the eternal child master, the master of eternal childhood. And the way I experience it is exactly like you said it. You've got the sense that comes with experience. And so, you're responsible, you know how to play the game pretty well by now. So you play it well and you take care of everyone around you, do what you have to do. However, you are the 4-year-old inside, because you're old enough at 4 to walk about, to think, all the rest. But you haven't yet been conditioned by society, right? You're still playing, still having fun, still filled with glee and wonder about everything. And that's what's driving you. And that's it. And, can I say one more thing? One more thing. The backward flowing motion. The backward flowing motion. But by the way, it was in the news yesterday. I don't know if yesterday they actually did it, or, they've done it and it was reported yesterday. Guys working on the quantum computer did an experiment where they actually made time go backwards. I don't even know what that experiment was, but I believe them, because I know what that feels like. They made time go backwards. Well, the Taoists, as you know, the backward flowing motion seems to be pretty central, and becomes more and more so for me. That idea that instead of moving forwards into life to grab, to get, to have, to do, I come backwards all the time, away from it. And I go at such a speed that it draws what I need to me in a gracious way, rather than me going out to get it. I allow it to come to me. And then I include everyone in that, allowing everything to come to everybody, by that motion inside of me. And there endeth the polemic.
Oh, I love you, BD. I love you, Barefoot. You are awesome. Basically, I'd say what he said. But it's one of my seafoods would say, right, for those who don't know what pushing hands is, a 2-person exercise. Now, it can be misconstrued as some sort of fighting exercise, but I was always taught it as sensitivity drills. It's all about this baby. It's all about, most people call this the yin yang. I was always taught when it's flowing, I always have to remember which way to do it on the camera. When it's actually moving, it's actually Tai Chi. It's the unity of the divine feminine and the divine masculine becoming divine. So my teacher would always say, walking down the road, pushing hands. Talking with somebody, pushing hands. Eating your food, pushing hands. Everything should be this balance between the yin and yang, this play, this sensitivity. So, and I love the thing of the Tao. My Sifus would say about invest with pushing hands and the Tao. It's all about investing in loss, being open.
Yes, investing in loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and therefore, so in conversation wise, you actually want to use these big earlobes. Well, I've got one big earlobes, and you want to drop a seed, plant the seed, and let something blossom and grow. And then I mean, and it is this play of yin and yang. We do both have, somebody will say something and, I really want to say something. But it's learning how to play with that and learning how to do that in a way that you keep it balanced. So it's all Tai Chi. It's all pushing hands. So it's great. It's wonderful. It's great to have you on the show. And it's great to have somebody who's answered that question how I would answer it. So it is an awesome thing. See that I love this thing of, obviously we'll talk with you, and at least a couple of your books mentioned it as well, that thing of leaning back, this thing of, but most people think they have to strive forwards, go forwards in life, and this actual thing, our brain, our body, we're actually designed to lean back, and when we lean back, we sit into the back of our mind, and we can actually observe more things. And my Taoists would call it that process about being in the inner cave, the internal cave, and looking out through, your eye sockets being the holes in the cave, and you're looking out to the world, and it gives you that extra little bit of time. And I love the thing about, you said about going backwards in time as well, or reversing time, because I'm sure most people have experienced, something going, hours feeling like seconds, or minutes feeling like days. And quantum physics is actually showing, and in the medical case studies, they know that we are actually, we change our perception, we can alter our body, we can alter our reality. You've got the wonderful Bruce Lipton, who talks about the nocebo effect and the placebo effect. The placebo is a test tablet, or a test point where they give you something that's actually not real, but they've actually found through the nocebos that 60% of people who do nocebos actually get a little bit to a lot better. And even to the weird fact of, like, they've even done placebo chemotherapy, where the machine makes the noise, and the people think it's doing what it's doing, and it's actually, they've lost hair, it's altered. The radiotherapy ones, it burns the skin. And that's how powerful we are. We have the ability to do that. The reverse of that, the nocebo, is it's medically proven. The medical, the pharmaceutical companies know that if you believe you're going to get ill, if you believe that seeing a pink elephant is going to make your hair fall out and you turn orange, there's a 60 to 70% chance it will happen, because you have that power, you have that ability. So we're all Taoists already. We're all great shaman, great magicians. It's just that we're not told that we can use this power and this ability. And that's what I think people like the wonderful Barefoot Doctor, like myself, our aim, our goal is to get you to wake up to this sort of stuff, wake up to the magic, but wake up to the fun as well. Enjoy this life, have fun, be a child again, but take responsibility for what you do. But hey, as any good Taoist should say, what do I know?
No, what I would say that would maybe slightly contradict that was that I wouldn't want to wake anyone up. I feel more that when they are waking up, my role when they have woken up or they're waking up, my role is to provide, as I know you feel the same, really, is just to provide the steps that they've got to take, the devices to be able to open up to that consciousness that we're talking about. Because I mean, yeah, we all know how to do it instinctively, but like you said, placebos imply that we need to trick ourselves into getting it. If you believe this and that and the other, it's like, well, what level of the self do you believe it? Because it's really complex. It's not just what you think you believe, even. It goes in so deep. It's stuff that started so long ago. It's where did that choice actually occur? Because I always see it all comes with a choice at some point. Like, I mean, I've worked with a lot of people with what they call mental health issues. I don't like the phraseology. I don't like the whole model of the modern mental health approach. To me, it seems medieval, just dressed up as all clever modern. It doesn't seem to address what's really going on at all. But I don't want to get in a whole rant about that. But I have worked with people who have been diagnosed dangerous psychotic, paranoid schizophrenic, and so on. And if I can get in lucid moments, which I can engender by putting my hands on people, by bringing them back in their body, if I can get them to discover, and it's a big if, what was the moment they made the choice to react to whatever traumatic stimulus it was, as a small child or a teenager or whatever, in that way that they then became habituated to without even realizing it. And suddenly they were caught in a what I might call a trope that they couldn't then get out of. I mean, I've watched, excuse me, I've watched people do it. I had a friend who did it, and she was playing mad with me. She was playing like she was nuts. And I know that was the game. It was fun because we're both friends of RD Lang. She was just like messing about. And she got into it a little bit too strong, didn't sleep for a couple of nights, then started getting into it. And then it became, she could get out of it. And then we had to go through all kinds of palavers to bring it back down to earth again. And she really had made herself. And she actually at the end of it all said, well, that was it. I was proving what you were saying. It's true. You do create these situations without even realizing it. There you go. It was quite fun. It's funny. It was a bit intense, really. But yeah, if we can find that point where we make the decision to become habituated to a certain way of being, we can undo it. But it's not easy. And the reason the drugs are used so much is because you can't get to everybody. And there aren't that many people trained to be able to do that with people or willing to do it. So it's a tricky one, but it is possible now if you're not suffering inordinately from any kind of extremes of the human condition internally, which thankfully it looks like most people are managing pretty much all right. There are these steps you can take that are really simple steps. You might not get them straight away because we're not used to using the mind that way. So like visualizations help. Yeah, you're talking about the cave. Another one I like is at the back of the body. It's like the throne room in the palace. And you're the queen or the king of the realm. So you sit back in the throne because the queen or the king sits back. They don't lean forwards. The minions or the courtiers lean forwards to them. Your Majesty. The Majesty stays back with a big open chest and gives their edicts and things are done. So the idea is that you sit back in the throne and the personality part of you, the front bit that does all the action, it will take care of everything for you. You just give it the commands and it will do it. If you don't sit in the back, and you're in the front because you're all busy with the world around you, it will take control of you, and then you won't have the experience you deserve while you're here. That's the thing. That's what enables people to be in a trance all the time, hypnotized by the world. It's funny when they talk about, kind of stuff I do with my music is putting people in a trance. It's not. It's the opposite. It's bringing them out of the trance back to themselves. That's the whole point. Yeah. And all the stuff we do, the Tai Chi, you might, at first it's like I'm going in a trance thing, but you're really not. You're coming out of the trance into who you really are. And it's much more beautiful and bigger than that mad person who runs about in the front of the body. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, yeah, your music, like I say, your books have been a great inspiration, but your music is another level. I've always loved your music, and I think it was I don't know who originally said it, but I know you've used that quote yourself before, and I love that quote of in the daytime my body's a temple, at nighttime my body's a nightclub. And I love that. I love that quote because, like I say, anywhere can be your divine inspiration. Anywhere can be your bliss. Where whether it's a temple, whether it's a nightclub, whether it's a toilet, you can find the magic. You can find a new inspiration. You can find that wonder in anywhere. And I love alchemy. Like the whole Taoist philosophy is that Tai Chi and Qigong is an internal alchemy to transcend the body, and music has always been an alchemy. And if there's any modern day alchemists, Taoist alchemists, I think I'm looking at one right now, because I've always found your music very alchemic. That could be a bogey word there. It works with alchemy. Let's just say that it inspires the mind, the body, the spirit. It activates stuff. I've always been very it's the one, as a true barefoot doctor has 5 different skills, and it's the one skill that is my most yin, my weakest is music. But for you, it's just a great the music over the years, many different songs. I remember that actually the first time I contacted you was to on a website I had at the time, was to use a sample of the track "The Way." I thought you might remember that. And for me, I mean, I love all the stuff and something we're going to talk about in a minute, or the ones, but The Way has always stuck with me. I've always loved that track, because there's certain little hints of of other great
the Pink Floyd.
the old Pink. But they were also alchemy. They also worked on musical alchemy, and their stuff was to influence your mind and to activate. So it was always a great thing for me. And The Way of was originally the name of my website. So when that track came out, I'm going to ask Barefoot Doctor. I'm going to ask him. Oh, that'd be so cool. And you gave me permission, and it was really cool at the time. I might bring that back one day. But yes, and so I mean, what is your new what experiments, or what musical magical musical medicine are you creating at the moment, dear Barefoot?
Thank you. Firstly, let me say thank you for all that amazingly kind sentiment. Thank you, really. And what I'm doing now is really the culmination of all my life, because I've been playing music since I was 2, actually, because I grew up in a musical family and what have you. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I actually could play a rhythm on the drums at the age of 2. I was playing a guitar at 4. So it's always been a deep part. And then when I was 6, I heard a like much bigger than that, and a really good one that I knew was what I call God talking. I don't know how I heard it, but I heard it 50 octaves below human hearing, and it was, you have to spread the awareness of this. It's important. That was like the mission that came to my 6-year-old mind. So then ensued band after band. I had one band after another. Even at my school, I had a band at 10, and the music teacher was the producer and all that. But the thing is, had I just been into music, I'd have probably been a pop star, got burned out, and been dead by now. But as it was, I always had this deep awareness of this thing we do that, I've always been doing it. It's just when I learned about it as Taoism, it gave it a name. It was like, oh, that's what I've been doing all the time. I'm sure you were as well. Yeah, maybe they did it a little bit better, but it was the same kind of thing, right? And so that way, I would say it kind of just not distracted, but it kind of, the 5 excellences you referred to. You've got to be able to heal people. You've got to be able to meditate. You've got to be able to do martial arts. You've got to be able to create new creative compositions of any kind, and you've got to be able to perform them and bring them to the audience. They're the five. Well, that's my interpretation of the 5 excellencies. And I had to attend to all of them. It's a lot of stuff to do. You know what I mean? As you're going along. You know, eventually, about 5-6 years ago, I was walking along in the mountains in Wales, and I just thought, enough, that's it. I am no longer going to distract myself or divert myself. It has to be the sound now. The whole thing's got to be the music. It has to be, and that's it. And I really meant it, and that's what happened. I stopped messing about. I really learned how to produce on my own, because till that point, I'd always had, you know, engineers going into big studios, do the old school way. It's, you know, once you know how to do it, it's actually pretty easy. I love it now, but learning how to do it, you could go almost insane, you know. And I did almost go insane, but fortunately didn't. And the culmination of all those decades has resulted in this thing called AMPed. Now, I nearly died. It's happened to me a few times. I was in hospital in Switzerland. There was a 6-hour surgery about a year and a half ago. I'm totally sorted from it now. They were brilliant, these guys. Three surgeons working together at the same time. And when I came to in intensive care, about a day after I'd come to, I had my computer and a pair of headphones, and I started making music. And it was slightly, in fact, quite profoundly different from anything I'd ever done before. Certainly a lot more round and well evolved. And it was like a force coming through that I must have picked up when I was out of my body for 6 hours. And it's coming through, and it's going, it's called AMPed. Well, like, why AMPed? It doesn't matter. You'll figure it out. It's called AMPed, right? And it's like a spirit called AMPed, an amped up spirit. And it really is. That's what it's like. And really, up until that point, I was capable of producing a really good quality LP's worth of music in 18 months, a year, you know, like really good, like finish it off and do it proper. Well, this, I have done 18, really like better than I've ever done hours worth, like 18 albums worth in just over a year. And they've all, and it's amazing, this stuff. I mean, I am an onlooker as much as the kind of creator of it or the shepherd of it. It uses, I use frequency design. I've been developing that for decades. So I'm pretty good with frequencies now. And I can make them do the most bizarre things, which I love doing. That's the basis. Just that moves the energy in a way like acupuncture would, or meditation would, or Twinar, or whatever it is you're doing, Tai Chi. I did doing subliminals. I was taught by an engineer, sound engineer, where you can have like an affirmation running under the surface, which the mind doesn't hear, but the subconscious picks up on. You can have up to 10, I've found, running next to each other, and it picks them all out. I've done little tests with people, so I'm not a scientist, but it's enough to say, yeah, that's working. The difference between the people who listen to it with or without the test groups I did is astonishing. It's a good 70% for the ones who had the subliminals, the ones who didn't. That was about a year ago I did all that. Then I've developed over the decades the way of doing a hypnosis script, a narrative rather, a guided meditation-y type thing. Through doing it in Ibiza, I had 2 club nights a week, doing at the Whirly gig in London, you know, being on the mic and not wanting to sound like a lemon, you know, being on the mic and not wanting to disturb young people who are tripping their nuts off, but somehow enhance the vibe for them. So I learned how to do that quite well. I learned how to use the mic well, like how to repeat what you needed to repeat in a way that kind of works. It works. You know, that kind of messing about with it. And to create like scripts that aren't too prosaic, no, not too formulaic. So it's kind of art. It's poetry, you know, songwriting, if you like. And then basically what you've got is there are 3 volumes of AMPed. And volume 1 is all about how to reality. Volume 2 is how to be the magician. And volume 3 which is the culmination of those, it's the miracle. How, you know, to perform miracles. So to get that you are a miracle, this is a miracle, plug into them to, you know, direct the miracle flow. They're each 6 hours long. You get like visualizers, you get a book. I write books for each one, and you get the audio, which is the most important because you can put earphones on and, you know, go about your business while you're listening. You listen to the whole thing through 6 times. All right.
No. Somebody just asked about the music, so I'm just pointing down. You can find it on your website. So carry on. Barefoot.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for clarifying that. I was wondering if you would say my flies are undone or something. You never know. No, they're not. So yeah, you've got these 3 volumes, and you listen to them through 6 times each. If you're going to do a volume, you can do each one separately, or you can do all 3 one after the other in any order you like. The Miracle is the one that's taken my attention because it's the one I just finished, and it is amazing because he had the first 2 to build up to it. If I shouldn't say it's amazing, but it is. It's great. The music is super cool because it's house music essentially, but it's electro organic because I play a lot of live instruments and I record where I live in Spain. I'm recording all the time, street sounds, people, because there's hardly any cars where I live, so you just get a lot of stones. You get a lot of great people sounds, and the Spanish down here in Andalusia, they've got a lovely way of talking. It's really musical, and the women are really vociferous. So you get a lot of beautiful women's voices, and actually you can make them sound like choirs, singing with the music and all sorts. I've got a great studio here, so I'm really actually able to work fast and efficiently. And anyway, yeah, I'm referencing every kind of music in it because I love jazz. I love, Astor Piazzolla, the Argentinian composer. I love Sibelius. I love big band. I love, swing jazz. I love bebop. I love Van Morrison. I love rock. I love punk. I love everything, really. And it references absolutely everything, but as I feel, not in a contrived way, just to keep it entertaining. So you have these 6 episodes. They're an hour long each, roughly. And each one takes you on a journey. And without you needing to do anything, you're getting a brain entrainment in how to be a Taoist. Not as a religion or anything, but how to do what we're talking about, how to be conscious and be enjoying it fully, how to make magic happen in your life. That's the idea of it. Because in my career, I found that there are only very few people who really can be bothered to train to the extent you need to be able to really get the gift. And because of that, I'm really wanting everyone to get it. I've always been thinking, how do I do it? And it's like, this is the answer, really. This does it for you. And then, of course, I sell all the trainings and do all that stuff that show people how I get there myself. So if you want to learn the behind business, you can. But it really, all you have to do is put this on once a day, press play, do the whole thing. 6 weeks later, you've transformed yourself. And it works, man, because people, I'm doing really well with it. And people are having the most amazing results. And it's not just because I told them to. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure I'm not that good a salesman. And people are, they're getting the value that I was hoping they would. So, yeah, amped. That's it. And anyway, now, what I'm doing at the moment is called microdoses, amped microdoses. And they're shortcuts, 4-minute, 5-minute maximum tracks with young people in mind. So I've because I am a youth myself, so I was able to let go into the mad minimalist side of everything and the grounding basses and all the rest of it. And I'm just doing the lyrics at the moment. They're like really simple affirmations that start. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. It's all done in the first person. So if it was about a meditation, I am now relaxing. I am now feeling. So you feel like it's my voice. You feel it's your voice talking to yourself, which I think is more powerful in a way. And these microdoses of, I say, I don't have to pretend. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to drive myself around the bed to please people. I please myself and people please me. I please them and everyone's happy, that kind of thing, Thinking of, all the issues that young people are facing now, it's really tough. And to want to kind of soften it up for them and give them a little something that will work, they can go on Spotify and all the other places. So that's what I'm on at the moment, my AMP microdoses, to bring it to the people. And then after that, I guess, getting ready for a live show with it, all being well, because that's what I really love to do. Amazing.
And Barefoot, if you want a events manager or a close protection officer, I'm here for you, brother. I'm here, because what I've done with your music in the past anyway, and with the stuff you do, because I do a thing called Chun Chi Shen, which is like Chinese Reiki, and how I was taught with Reiki, which is different. Reiki in Japan is different to Reiki in the West because they actually do Qigong or Qigong with the Reiki to build up the energy, and instead of one-off attunements or the attunements or downloads or shundals or chi blasts, as I call them, they would do weekly ones. So I've done it many times with your music, is actually do energy blasts or, you know, attunements to a person as well, and it really seems to, you know, boost up. So my next thing would be to try that with amp. Yeah, is because music, we are all vibration, we are all energy anyway, and all you're doing is tuning, you know, it's raising that frequency, raising that vibration on that person, which is freaking awesome. It's, you know, exactly what we're meant to do. So it is a great, well, I say it's been a great honor to have you on the show, and it's a great honor to hear, you know, your new work, your new volumes of knowledge, but in music, you know. And I think, I don't know if that was your intention, but I think that's definitely what you've done. You've have all your the books and that one. And now these are your new volumes. These are your new volumes where the information is coming through sound and feeling and energy.
Thank you so much for saying, man. Thank you. You said it perfectly. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it happens sometimes. But yeah. To me, this like I say, I'm dyslexic, but to me, I was taught through my teachers, you know, that in business they use empaths and dyslexics all the time because they think out the box, and to me, it makes perfect sense. You've got the books were one version, and the audios. I've got the audios of quite a few of your books as well. But now the music, because the music triggers sound and music triggers so many different things. And you was also talking about, like when you was a child, about the the sacred Wa. You know, when a lot of people say I've always said Wa because that was it was taught to me as it was that sacred sound. And I can't remember, or there's a couple of your tracks, but there's a couple of your tracks where you have the in the background, and they're the ones I really love, those as well. And it's, you know, it's this it activates your inner child, it activates your internal energy, you know. It cuts away all this wordy, I'm going to swear, all this wordy bollocks. It cuts away all that chaff, and then you get to the feeling, get to the inner core, and that's what music does. And that's why, you know, people love music, and that's why I've always loved what you do in music, because you take it to that next level, and with the subliminal, you know, with the words as well, and the whole idea with amp, like you say, you're in an area where you're using natural sounds and people. And one of my Sifus used to say that the Tao, everything is your Sifu. The Tao is, you know, the Tao talks to you through everything, or God talks to you through everything. So to get all those whispers of the universe talking to you in a soundtrack, you know, different nature and you know, that is perfect. That is what you're meant to do, and I think that's awesome. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're more than welcome, sir. It's great honor and pleasure to have you on. Is there? I mean, we're sort of wrapping up to an hour, and I know you're a busy man. So, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Yes, I must actually say the person from whom that quote comes is the amazing Raja Ram of Shbongle fame. Raja Ram, the guy that invented Goa trance music. He's going to be 80 this year, and he said, actually what he said was, "Hey Doc, remember your body is your temple, but it's your club too."
And I've always loved that. I've used that many times myself, but because I used to do close protection. I used to be a security officer in close protection, and yes, I've always been very close to the music, and that's why I ended up actually being a bit of a DJ, because the DJ that, like, the earlier, you know, it was normally like between the 9, 10 and 11 spot. 9, 10, 11 spot. Here we go. I'll go to the toilet, which normally meant something else, and I'll be back in a bit, you know, and 45 minutes later. So I learned how to mix. Right, I learned how to do a bit of music, and so yeah, that's on the musical side of the 5 skills, that's sort of the nearest. Oh, no, I play a little bit of harmonica, and you've had harmonica in your tracks before, which I've absolutely loved. Yes, it's I've always, like, just quite simply, I've always loved that saying, because it goes back to this. There is no good or bad. You need the yin and the yang. You need your low points, because your low points teach you stuff and give you chance to recuperate, and you need your high points, because that's where you go, oh, look how well I've done. And then when you get your lows, it's, I remember being up there, let's aim for that again. So it's all about that.
You've got great enthusiasm. It's wonderful, your enthusiasm. Really, it's solid.
It's funny how through, like, students and whatnot in the past, because I've always been like this, but they've always said, you're like the Barefoot Doctor. You word things like, and I said, well, that's because he's always been my Sifu. I've always learned from him in different ways, and I love plays. My humour comes from people like Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, and they're all very much about play and words and twisting things around and having fun with it. And so are you. And so I've always loved that way of seeing things. You take something and go, oh, what does it look like this? And what does it look like this? So with words, and you're doing that with music now. You're taking something that's seen as one way, and you're going, what does it look like from this angle? Oh, what does it look like from this angle? And you're doing exactly what we're meant to do. You're playing with the music, and through your play, you're creating alchemy. You're creating musical alchemy. You're creating wonderful healing melodies, and that's what's so cool. So from everybody out there, your other fans, I say thank you very much. Love Chi and Shen. It's keep doing what you're doing, Barefoot. Don't you stop.
You too. You too.
Oh,
you're doing great. You're brilliant. You're lovely. You're beautiful. Thank you.
Snap. Ditto. So and I will say is I know, because I've followed you for some time, and I know a couple of years ago, because wasn't it a spider bite or something that actually tricked your party?
That bastard going on. It was in July. I got bitten by a black widow, and it's still healing, but it's healing. It is healing.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to say, I know you've got quite a bit of light on you, but you're looking far more. The rosy cheeks are coming back, and the blood is circulating back in you. So you've definitely come through the other side. So it's And I would say the amp. You're the one creating this, and it's there's an interesting thing with Paul McKenna. I don't know if you ever heard, but Paul McKenna did he did talks about give up smoking and whatnot, and one of his audio guys that was doing it had a complaint. He said, I've got a complaint. He said, I was smoking 40 a day and happy, and now I've given up smoking, creating your audio. It's made me given up smoking. And I bring that up because I think it's helping you. Your own creation is supercharging you again and helping you. So, which is a brilliant example. It helps. It can help anyone. Even the mighty Barefoot Doctor is helped by his own creation.
Sure. It's got to help me or it doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed. Right. So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Barefoot don't go just yet, but everybody else, if you want to listen, find AMP, you will find it on the barefootdoctorworld.com. I strongly recommend that you should have a look at it. It is very awesome, powerful stuff. And again, I'd like to say thank you so much, Barefoot, for coming on the show. It's been a great pleasure and honor to have you on. Everybody else, we do have a show on Sunday. I can't remember off the top of my head who it is. I'm a little bit giddy with the whole Barefoot Doctorness. But so we do have a show on Sunday, and that is 6 o'clock UK time, 6:30 UK time, which is Eastern is at the moment, that's 1:30 Eastern for my American friends and students. So everybody else, just with a couple flips of the button, it is thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have, please share it out. It's great to Care Bear share. Otherwise, guys, take care. See you in the future. From the mighty Barefoot Doctor, from myself, Sifu Boggy, love, chi, and Shen. Bye, guys. Nice to see you.